At it again, and this is a story of you must sleep in the bed that you made, and it is so glorious. You are not going to want to miss this full story. But before we hop into it, like, share, comment, and hit that subscribe button if you are new. All right, and even if you aren't new, just make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, because YouTube has been unsubscribing some folks, so make sure you are still subscribed to the channel. All right. And, of course, share these videos. It's the arrow button down below. You can copy the link, paste it anywhere you like. You can text it to somebody. You can Facebook message, send it through Facebook Messenger, Instagram, DMs, post it to your website. All right. And make sure you following me on social media. Those links are down below, including my Discord server. Hope to see you guys over there. It's totally free to join. It's the first link in the description box below. And with that being said, let's dive in.
Nothing lasts forever. The British once had the largest empire in the world. Today, they control a few islands and can barely hold on to their prime ministers. The Chicago Bulls were dominant in the 90s. They won 6 championships in 8 years. Then Jordan retired, and now they stink. Tonight, we're seeing the demise of an institution that has ruled America for over 150 years. There's a revolt happening right now inside the New York Times headquarters. Over 1,000 New York Times workers stormed out of the building today, striking against what they call insulting and disrespectful contract negotiations. The workers want more cash, at least a 10% bump in pay, to keep up with what they call Putin's price hike, which is strange because these are the same people who told us we didn't have to worry about inflation. And they're also the same people that called the Biden economy historic, said it was surging. The economy has been good for the bosses at the Times. The paper added millions of subscribers, handing out big bonuses to top brass. Now the workers want them to share the wealth. But the greedy executives at the New York Times say, sorry, peasant, that money's mine.
They gave him the finger wave like the Kimbe Matumbo. No, no, no.
The Times, swimming in profits, is stiffing their reporters right before Christmas.
Now, it gets deeper. It gets deeper, so stick around. Stick around. It gets juicier. Trust me. You're not going to want to miss what comes up next. But, I just find stuff like this so funny. Because now you have to sleep in the bed that you made. You have to deal with the monsters that you created. You did this, New York Times. You, along with the other media and the establishment, you created these monsters. And now they're out to get you. They're not after people like me anymore. They're coming after you now. It's glorious to watch the left eat itself when they turn on their own. It's glorious to watch. It is so glorious. New York Times spent all this time creating these animals, these monsters. Misinformation, disinformation, and the only ones that have been spewing misinformation and disinformation are the same people accusing other people of doing it. Like, it's been the people at the New York Times. Now you got to deal with the same monsters. Let's jump back into it.
The New York Times hasn't given their workers a raise in 2 years. This is the same company that savages corporate America for not raising salaries and writes editorial after editorial demanding we raise the minimum wage now. But
now when it's your turn, remember the saying, rules for thee, no rules for me. They're all hypocrites. Every last one of them. They're all hypocrites. And I pointed out all of this stuff just about every single day, where the left has proven to be hypocrites.
Joe Biden's economy, New York Times writers are losing money. And the New York Times, they don't care. All about money. The New York Times reporters also want to be able to work from home. But the New York Times wants its employees to, come to the office 3 times a week. And the workers say, no, that's too much. COVID's still here. And it could strike at any moment, even though they're all triple boosted. And did you know the New York Times, their health care plan, doesn't pay for fertility treatments? This New York Times war on women is outrageous. And the New York Times reporters, they want to have babies too. They're not sold on AOC's great replacement theory. But the worst part, New York Times reporters say the Times is racially biased. The New York Times little, 1619 lady, she was on strike today, and boy, is she angry.
We're asking that a committee on diversity be established to identify groups underrepresented at the company. A diversity initiative that doesn't touch management is not a diversity initiative. And the fact that our management team at the bargaining table has yet to confirm and work to correct the Guild's finding on racial disparities in our employment and performance evaluation system, it becomes clear that this is about more than just a contract.
Let me guess. The 1619 lady wants affirmative action, equity, and reparations at the Times. What will the wealthy white male owner of the Times do with this racial hand grenade? It's a mess. A lovely mess, I must admit. I can't say I'm not tickled by it. So we sent a primetime producer to the New York Times strike to talk to some workers.
What are you guys on strike about?
We've been at the bargaining table for 20 months now. The company is consistently coming into the bargaining table with proposals that are insulting and unacceptable.
The New York Times is making record profits, and the people who make the news need to share in that.
It's a variety of issues, but the big things are we haven't had a raise in over 2 years.
What are they not giving you?
They're not giving basic floor wages of $65,000.
I'll be honest, I don't know the details that specifically.
We have been working through the entire pandemic without any salary increases at a time of record inflation.
Is this about coming back to the office?
It's also about coming back to the office.
Of course, we also want to make sure that we are protecting people. We're still living through a pandemic.
Remote work is part of the negotiations.
We find it ridiculous that the company is maintaining this position, that it have the unilateral right to call us back in 5 days a week.
I thought the New York Times respected unions, so what happened there?
You'll have to ask them.
That's an excellent question. I would love an answer to that as well.
Excellent question. We'd love to hear what the management has to say about that.
Yeah, it's a very good question. We thought the New York Times respected unions too.
What happens to the New York Times when you guys are on strike?
We'll find out.
We have said we're not going to write stories. We have photo people, we have electricians, other people in the building who are not working today. They have to figure it out on their own.
I am refusing to write. I'm refusing to respond to edits.
I imagine they're having quite a hard time putting the publication together.
The New York Times can't run without the people who run the New York Times. And management needs to know that.
If you guys are all on strike, who's going to write the fake news?
Well, we don't actually think that we write fake news.
That feels like a gotcha.
Now you got to deal with the monsters you made. Those are the animals you made. Now they're coming back to get you. And it's always funny how, a lot of these big wigs always, oh yeah, we stand for social justice. We stand for the unions. And, when it's actually your time to actually stand up and do something about it, you give them the finger wave. You give them the middle finger. Nah, after your union. You talk about a raise? Nah. You want to talk about the climate? You guys all buy electric. I'm gonna keep flying my private jet from place to place all over the place, and it is what it is. Because you guys all buy electric cars. So I get to do what I want. And hopefully through situations like this, more leftists wake up and realize these folks who claim to love you, these elitists that claim to love you on the left, they don't really love you. They love their power over you. They love the way that they have your mind controlled. And now when it comes time for these elitists to actually do something to truly help you, they gave you the middle finger. Do you guys think this is going to wake some of these folks up? I think it's going to wake at least a few of them up. I don't think it's going to wake up the numbers that I would like, but I think a few people are going to wake up and realize, man, these leftist elitists that are always pushing this message, they don't truly care about us. I want to see more situations like this. Anyway.
Here's the problem. The Times can't publish a woke agenda and operate the company with a capitalist agenda and not expect the workers to figure out one day, hey, Mr. Schultzberger, practice what you preach. But if Schultzberger ran it like the woke striking writers want it, the Times would go bankrupt. Everybody would work remote, and he would have to resign because he's white. So the reporters today are telling readers to boycott the paper. Don't go to the newsstand, don't click on any links, and don't ever think about playing Wordle. Where are we supposed to get our fake news from? I don't know. If CNN anchors can't read Paul Krugman, they're not going to know what to say. Even the squad's boycotting the Times.
Do not cross the digital picket line. Let us stand in solidarity with our brothers and sisters who are walking off the job in protest to make sure they earn the wages they deserve. Let us not cross the digital picket line. Let's stand with them and tell your friends, do not consume their news from the New York Times tomorrow. We'll get it from somewhere else. Let's stand with our brothers and sisters in labor. Peace and love.
The New York Times isn't taking this laying down. They're trying to crush the union. No striking worker gets paid until they come back to work. Can you believe that Trump and Elon Musk treat their workers better than the New York Times treats its workers? Even Minnie Madoff, when he's not stealing billions, bought his workers lunch every day, and then he slept with them. But, you get the point. The New York Times is bringing scabs into the newsroom to pick up the slack, just to keep the fake news flowing and show the reporters they're replaceable. The New York Times is hiring scabs and not paying their striking workers, who they haven't given a pay raise to in 2 years. So what does our pro-union president have to say about this? Nothing. Biden's silent. We thought a New York Times reporter would ask the press secretary about the strike, but they didn't show up to the briefing today. This chair is reserved for a Times reporter. Looks like they were on strike too. So Primetime reached out to the White House, and we haven't heard anything back. Biden needs to be careful with his answer here. This is a tricky and sticky situation. One wrong move, and he could have thousands of new enemies in the press. Big guy cannot afford that.
And listen, this is the crazy thing, and this is what I mean when I say the left plays the game well. They know when to hold them, and they know when to fold them. As much as I don't like their policies and the way they go about things, sometimes you got to admit they play the game well, unlike Mitch, who, Mitch is going to make me angry with the stuff that he's trying to pull off. This bumbling idiot. Get Mitch McConnell, get him out of there. Get him out. We don't want Mitch at all, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Kick him to the curb. Get him out of. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. Let's get back focused. If he says anything without completely thinking the entire thing through, because they're gonna have to say something eventually. If this continues to go on, they're gonna have to say something eventually. But it has to be well thought out. Has to be well formulated. Because if he says something too early and it's not perfectly formulated, the entire thing crumbles. Because then people start to realize, hold on, y'all have been preaching all of this stuff to us. All of this lovey-dovey stuff, and you love the unions and all of this other crap. And then when it comes time for you guys to practice what it is that you preach, now we've had a few examples of you don't do it. And then also what Jesse said there, he could start to lose some trust in the media. Can't do that. So it's best to just sit back and stay quiet. Not say anything for as long as you possibly can until you formulated something perfect. And this is one thing that, some Republicans like Mitch are just absolutely garbage at. Garbage. And I'm new to this. I'm new to the whole, political sphere and politics and things. And I'm looking at Mitch and I'm just like, yo, oh man, I'm watching Nancy. I'm watching Chuck. I'm watching Joe. I'm watching all of these leftist politicians just playing chess, moving the board, just dominating the board. While Mitch is over here playing checkers. And he's losing at that. And I'm just like, yo, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? And somebody help me out. How do y'all think this is going to turn out? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, share, comment. Hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.